Hello, welcome to Crossroads, the intersections of Blackness. I am B.Deveaux, and I'm a member of the Kingmakers of Oakland Street team. We host events, build community, and provide spaces for our people to talk about some of the great work they're doing. Here on Crossroads, we tap in with Black folks and all of their different identities. We aim to highlight individuals who are often ignored or overlooked, who do positive work in our communities for our communities. We are crossing the roads of age, sexuality, gender, location, and mental health in hopes of engaging conversations and learning new lessons. Our focus is intersectionality and how all of our identities play into our ever-present Blackness. Ikera Davis is one of the founders of Young Gifted and Black of Oakland. She went on to be a founder of YGB Gold and the Black Sheroes. She has been on 3 international tours with YGB, including 2 trips to Ghana and 1 trip to Trinidad. Ikera currently serves as the Director of YGB Berkeley. She leads rehearsals, teaches the songs, and serves as a generational bridge for the youth. She is a recent graduate of Diablo Valley College, obtaining 2 degrees in social justice and sociology. She is a member of the National and Bay Area Coup Street teams and an Oakland native. Ikera enjoys creating and spends time painting, drawing, writing, taking pictures, and more. Please welcome Ikera Davis.
Hello, hello, hello. It's always awkward when you hear yourself, or hear things that you do back. My name is Ikera Davis. I am 22, native from Oakland, California. Social justice work is just kind of where my life has led me, and Kingmakers and Young Gifted and Black kind of like give me the opportunity to do that work. So, yeah, it's all good.
So just to get started with Crossroads, we kind of always start an interview with this question. What does intersectionality mean to you?
Yeah, intersectionality is like so important. And I remember when I first learned it, I was like, yes, like you're spitting, you're saying what needs to be said. But intersectionality is essentially like how all of our identities kind of come together and like, you know, collab and like come, kind of how society sees you, kind of how it just all comes together. And so like for me, I'm a Black woman, I'm Black. I'm a woman. I'm a little chubby, you know what I'm saying? That stuff happens. I have dreadlocks, you know what I mean? I'm kind of gay sometimes. All type of things that like, you know, build me, make me who I am. And so it's like, for me, I guess intersectionality, like I just embrace all of that. You know what I mean? Like I don't feel ashamed of it. I don't try to hide from it. There was times when I did try to like hide some parts of myself or like make myself feel smaller in certain situations. But I think now like, knowing what intersectionality is, kind of knowing how it affects my life, knowing how it affects all of the people in my life close to me. And just, you know, I feel like, you know, you have a name for something, then you understand it. And then you like process it. So it's like once I had a name for what that is, what my identity is, like intersectionality is like that name. It's like now I can embrace all of it because I'm not like trying to shun one part of away from me because it doesn't look right or because it doesn't feel right or because it doesn't fit into society's molds. It's like, no, this is all me. Like, period. So yeah, that's how it plays into my life, I guess.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. In your bio, it says that you're also a founder of Young Gifted and Black. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So Young Gifted and Black is an organization. It's a family organization. So it's an organization that teaches Black youth, Black children, Black history through poetry, song, raps. And then they then become the teachers and then teach that history to different audiences elsewhere. And so Young Gifted and Black in Oakland started because my dad and my grandmother kind of felt the need for that. They saw this need in the children to have this kind of Black history, to have this like these lessons, to have this kind of centralized hub for Black children to be able to like be Black and proud and understand what that means. And they started that when I was in 5th grade. And I was one of the first kids in the room. It was me and my brother. And I remember in 4th grade, I did the Oratorical Fest. And I feel like this isn't like necessarily, this is how I feel it kind of started. This is how like my brain kind of rationalized it as a kid. In 4th grade, I did the Oratorical Fest. and I did it with a homegirl, and we did this poem about Rosa Parks. So it was, Rosa Parks didn't take no stuff, you know that poem. She wasn't scared of nothing either. It was like we was doing this poem, and it was like she had a line, I had a line, she had a line, I had a line. We've been practicing for weeks, and it was like, cool, oratorical fest coming up, let's get on the stage, finna do it. And we stood on the stage, and she said her line, and my mind went blank. And my tummy fell. And I'm standing in front of all these little elementary school kids, and I'm like, oh, snap. And they're looking at me, and I was all excited. My dad's sitting in the corner with the dang, what was it? Those little flip cameras. Yes. You remember the old school flip cameras? And he's recording me, and I'm on stage looking crazy. And I'm like, and then it all comes to me, and I just say it super fast. And then I run off stage. And it was like, woo. And I felt like my dad was like, can't have her out here looking like this. You know what I mean? Like, because in the next year, it was like, we're doing YGB. We're doing this oratorical fest thing. You're learning how to do poetry. You're learning how to spit on stages. You're learning how to, like, do this thing. And wow. That's kind of, like, how that started. But Young, Gifted, and Black started with my grandmother and 3 other Black teachers in Ithaca, New York, when my dad was a kid. And that was the founding. That was really the foundation of the organization was my grandmother and these other 4 Black teachers, or 3 Black women teachers in Ithaca were like, these Black children need to know Black history. Like, these Black children need a space. It's the same it was the same need. And they saw that same need that they saw in Ithaca in the 70s, and they saw that need in Oakland in the 2000s, late 2000s. We're like, we got to replicate this whole thing. And so it's changed in its iterations and like what it is, and like now I'm directing the group. Went from like being in the group, traveling out the country with the group, like creating new groups, subgroups within those groups, and now to being the director of the group and like kind of taking the reins from my grandmother and my father and like just doing it all. So yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. What an origin story.
Yeah.
What goals do you hope to see with you being able to really take charge and kind of navigate where the youth is going?
I just hope they have the same experience I had, child. Like, I'm nervous for real. I mean, I've been directing this group for the past like 5-6 years, low key.
Okay.
I kind of like stopped performing and then went right into directing. Actually, the trip that we took to Trinidad, I was performing and directing. So I was like on the trip and I got everybody rehearsed and like we did the thing, and then it was like, okay, now we're in Trinidad. I need to be on stage too, so I'm on stage performing and stuff with them. But that was kind of like during that time, and my senior year of high school for real, 2016 was really when it was like, okay, I'm the youth director. I'm the first inaugural youth director of this group. And so I was like working with Sheroes. I was working with the kids and like always twice a week. And then it just kind of developed from there. And so at that time, I was the youth director, you know what I mean? But my grandmother's still in the room, my dad's still in the room. Like, it's not just me, you know what I mean? It's just like, y'all can sit and I can lead this, but then I can sit and y'all can lead this. And so that kind of has been what has been going on for the past couple of years. And then a couple of years, when we started Young, Gifted, and Black Berkeley, so we were in Oakland for a really long time. We were in Oakland for almost 10 years. And then we moved to Berkeley, where we currently are, and where we were like the years leading up to the pandemic. Like, I was in Berkeley when the pandemic happened, you know what I mean? Like, when it started, it was like I was with these kids and was like, we're going to do this until they tell us to stop. And then the next day it was like, stop. And I was like, oh, snap. So it's like we've been in Berkeley with these children, and in that time, I was me and my grandmother, and then we would have some YGB alumni come and like help out. But it was still not just me, you know what I mean, as being the top. Like, I still see my grandmother as the authority of it all. So even though she would literally like talk to them and like step back, and I would be leading rehearsal and she'd be talking to parents and all this stuff, I'm still like looking to her for guidance. I'm still looking to her for questions. I'm still like not feeling like I'm the adult in the room because my grandmother's 80, you know what I mean? And so she's obviously the adult in the room where I'm just 20, at the time, like I'm just here,
Respect
with the kids.
Elders,
respect, And so now she's not going to be in the room. And so now I will be the oldest person in the room. And I'm just like, how do you replicate the lineage? How do you replicate the history? How do you replicate the love that came from that generational kind of being in the room? It was just generations in the room at YGB for years. It was always a multi-generational room at all times. And now it's not really. Now, like I said, I'm 22, about to be 23. The youngest person on my staff is 20. It's just 3 of us. Like, and we're all in our 20s, and we're young 20s too. But then it's like these kids, and it's like, I'm a teacher. Like, I can do it. I'm not like scared of it. It's just more so like currently I'm reaching out to YGB alumni and asking them to send me testimonies about their experiences in YGB. And like what I've gotten back is really powerful. And I just hope that in 20 years, when I do this again, that the testimonies I get from the students that I actually taught are still as powerful. You know what I mean? And aren't just like, I did this after school program and I kind of wasted my time, but it's like I actually learned something and I actually took something from this. So I just hope that I can just like do justice. Like,
I think there's no way you can't with the intentions that you set and just how much reverence you hold for what you're stepping into.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're going to leave the youth with amazing talent. I can't wait to see.
Invited
to the shows, okay?
No, for sure. Everybody invited. No. No, for sure.
Yes. So a little bit back to the core of our Crossroads questions. I would love to know, like, how does your identity inform how you move and navigate through the world?
I feel like I'm always me where I am. And I've kind of tried to position myself into situations where I can be me where I am. And so my identity, it's just me, you know what I mean? Like, I just can't not be me. Like, I actually find it really hard to not be me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, as far as, like, putting on a mask and trying to, like, fit into a box and whatnot, like, I've gotten over that stage of my life where I feel like I have to fit into some conforming thing. So where now I'm like, I can just be, you know what I mean? And so I feel like when it comes to like my work, for example, it's like everything that I'm doing right now, some of the things I'm doing right now as a kid I kind of fought against. Like, I didn't always want to be in YGB. Like, I'm candid camera, for real. Like, I was a kid, I wanted to do other after school stuff. Like, I was in YGB from 5th grade through high school. That's every day after school, Tuesday and Thursday, Monday and Wednesday. You know what I mean? Like, that's every single week. I got shows, things I'm missing out on because I got to go to shows when it's like, the thing about YGB is like, you have a choice. I didn't have a choice. If I'm being real, my parents, my grandma, you know what I mean? Like, I'm the one kid in the room who did not have a choice, but I'm not like hating on it. That was my reality. I was completely comfortable in that. But it's like now I'm at a point where I can choose where I want to be. And it's like, I choose that. You know what I mean? And it's like, I choose kingmakers as well. Like, we sit in meetings and I'm like, completely me. You know, I got camera, you know, all you'll see is my face. And I can't hide my facial expressions no matter how hard I try. So if you look at my box, you'll see how I think. You know what I mean? And it's like being in spaces that accept that and don't shun that or try to like kind of, you know, let's talk off camera to talk about your attitude. And it's like, no, I don't have an attitude. I'm just passionate about the work. You know what I mean? Like, I've been in other positions where I've had to, like, especially workspaces, where I've had to, like, try to fit into what they think is the right way to be or the right way to act or all that stuff. And it's like where I'm at right now. And I'm happy to be here now. I'm young to be in a position to be like, yeah, I like my job. You know what I mean? Like, that's so rare. And I honestly had not been there for a really long time. But, like, where I'm at right now, my identity, how I am, is accepted where I am, and so I'm like good. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel anything about that. Like, I'm straight. Like, everything's good.
That's a bar.
That's a bar.
How I am is accepted where I am. I love that. How has your art, because obviously we've collabed a lot when it comes to art this year, and I know it's been like very much so of an outlet. And the last 2 years have been crazy, all with like COVID and then people waking up to racism, I guess, or whatever we're calling that epidemic. With all that's happening, how has art been an outlet for you?
For me, I kind of like, I've always done something, like dabbled in creativity. YGB was like the thing. When I was in school, I was an athlete, so that was like always my kind of focus, but I always was writing poetry. I worked with Youth Speaks for a couple of years, so I was really writing poetry, hosting poetry events, you know, hosting open mics, like going to workshops all the time. So I was really like tapped in with my pen. And then my senior year of high school, I took my first creative writing class, and it was a short story class, and I just instantly fell in love with like writing short stories. And I used to have this idea of what stories. And like when you sit down to write a story, it has to be a novel. You know what I mean? Because that's all I've read at the time. That was all I was really interested in reading. So that was how I like saw stories. So anytime I I have this great idea I want to write down, and I would like write the first 2 pages, then it'd be like, this will never be finished, and then I'll just leave it. You know what I mean?
Right.
But then when I took that first short story class, it was like, oh snap! Like, you could finish a story in a paragraph. You know what I mean? Like, you could finish a story in a couple pages. Like, it doesn't have to be this, like, big thing. And so that kind of, like, opened my world up. And I did that. I took a couple classes after that in college, and it was, like, loved that. But when it comes to, like, the pandemic and stuff, writing just was not, like, coming to me. Like, when it was coming to be time to, you know, tap into your creative thing and, like, get your whole, like, your mental right, you know what I mean? And you're like, for me, creativity kind of comes and, like, calms me down, you know what I mean? And, like, if I'm feeling anxious, I'm like, gonna do something, and it's like, cool.
And what's your art Instagram? My
art Instagram, you can follow me at Creative Icky. So it's creativity, but with a K at the end instead of a T at the end. Because Icky's my nickname. But now if you go there, like, you won't see any writing on there because I haven't been able to do that in so long. It's been like, the pandemic happened and I was like, I need to get paint. And I don't even know where it came from. I was just like, I desperately need to go to Michael's. I was like, I need to go right now. I need to get some paint. I need to get some canvases. Like, I need to get paper. I need to get brushes. I need to get all this stuff. And I did. And I just was like painting. I started painting in the summer, and I kind of, like, have this space now in my mom's garage. It's like a fake art studio. Like, I have a table that's full of paint on it. Like, there's literally, like, you know, when you go past the page and it's, like, paint on the table. I used to be like, I gotta wipe it up. And then I was like, ain't nobody coming for this table. So now there's just hella paint marks on it and stuff. And then, like, I just spent so much time doing that. And, like, it really helped me. I would just finish a picture, let it dry, grab another one, and start something else. You know what I mean? And it wasn't like, it was just so nice. Like, honestly, it was just so nice to not actually have anything else to do as well. Because it's a pandemic, child. I'm quarantined. Like, I am in the house. Like, there's really nowhere else to be. So I was really quarantined. Like, I wasn't one of those people playing. Like, I was really in the house. So I was like, what do I do to, like, disrupt my everyday? And I also I buy art all the time. I love art prints. I love, like, filling my room with just art. Like, if you walk into my room, it's just like a vibe. Like, you walk in and it really is like, I've made it just this, like, a gallery. Like, there's so much art on the walls, and I still am buying more. And once I started painting, it was like, I can put my stuff on the walls. So then I have a bunch of my art on the walls. And then recently I got an Apple Pencil, which you know, so I just been in my room doodling, drawing, like, and that has been a whole different experience. I like it, but it's not messy. And I feel like art is really messy. Like, even when you're writing something, when you're painting something, when you're drawing something, and you know, it feels really messy. The Apple Pencil just takes all the way the mess, and I'm not sure if I love it or not because of that. Because I do like the mess aspect. Like, I love when I paint and I pick my hand up and I got paint all over my body, and I'm like, I've been painting all day, you know what I mean? Like, I look like I did something. If I draw in my room all day, nobody's gonna know, child. Right. They're not gonna see my Apple Pen. But I love when it was coming of it. I just love, like, the new ideas I can create. I love being able to zoom in and get hella detail that I couldn't get before. That's, like, this big, you know what I mean? And, like, nobody's ever gonna see it, but I know it's there. Like, I just love it. I've been really enjoying myself. I've drawn a couple of series of faces that I don't know where they came from, but I'm just like, they're just very tight to look at. And I just love drawing Black people. I just love, like, anytime I draw anything, if there's a person involved, like, they're Black. Like, I just love seeing Black art. I love seeing Black people just joyous, happy, and just, like, bad, you know what I mean? Like, I just love it. Like, it's great. So the art just, it's been my creative outlet. It's just been, like, my deep breath, for real, like a real big exhale.
That's dope. That's dope.
So, yeah.
Make sure, if you're watching, grab a pen, a pencil, a notepad, draw something while you're continuing the interview.
Doodle something. Tag us.
I know that, I'm sure that you've had, countless people on your journey up until now that have, like, supported you and motivated you, or, been there when you needed them. Could you tell us about maybe one or two of those people and just, how significant they were to, making sure you're here with us today? And
yeah. Ooh, okay, child. This is a question I ain't thought of. I have so many people I could think of, honestly. I could first just start with my grandmother, Miss Davis, my mommy, that's what I call her. The Leroylyn Davis. She is everything. She's just the most beautifulest being. She's taught me everything. She's just really guided me through my life. Like, when I was a kid, I spent a lot of time with her, like a lot of time with my grandparents and at their house, and just, playing and baking and just doing all kind of things, learning and creating. And she just is always spitting game. Like, she just is always spitting game. I've learned so much from her in just everything. Like, things I don't even need to know. Do you know what I mean? Like, things I'm not even going to use in my life because it's not something I do, but it's like I know how to if I need to type stuff. Like, she's just really great at that. She's a Scorpio. And one thing I know about Scorpios is it's like Scorpio motto, stay ready so you don't got to get ready. So I'm an Aquarius. We are air. We fly, child. We just be zoom. We just go day by day, you know, whatever. And I have to keep that in the back of my mind or else I won't, because I've been in situations, you know, I want this jacket. I should bring this jacket inside. I'm going to leave it inside. Walks out, it's raining. Dang. You know what I mean? And it's like she's the person to tell me, like, listen to the first voice. Like, the first voice is the right voice. The second voice is trying to distract you, but like the first voice is that's your conscious, that's your ancestors, they're holding you. And so just teaching me all kind of little things. Like, I pray every day when I get in my car before I get to my destination. I pray for a parking space. I pray to get there safely. I pray that God got me. Like, I pray every single day, and I learned that from her. And that was something she taught me before I even was thinking about getting a license. You know what I mean? Like, and should I be parking? I got parking spaces, okay? You know what I mean? Like, just all little things that are like just little gems. Like, she's taught me big gems, you know. Anybody who was in YGB knows the 3 rules. Stay on top of your game. Control all you can control. Influence as much as you can with what you can't control. It's like that just guides me. It guides a lot of YGB students. That's like those are our 3 rules for YGB, but that's something that she taught us. Like, the most dangerous thing in the world is sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity. That's Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. She taught me that. Just things I just wouldn't have known. My blackness, who I am, how I am. Like, that is my grandmother. That is the Royland Davis, 100%. Like, she taught me everything. Sheesh. I don't know. There's so many people. I mean, I don't even know who to say after her, but like, my mama child, my mama holds me. My mama is my dog. Me and my mama are really best friends. I call my mama child. Like, straight up. Like, me and my mama are really tight. She just has always looked out for me. And not even like, and of course, you know, that's what mamas do. Like, that's what everybody says. Like, you know, you have your whatever. But she's really, I feel like she's gone above and beyond for me. I actually, in 2016, you know, I was graduating high school and I had opportunity to go to, like, it was college time, everybody's going to college, whatever. Right. I was just like, I'm going to take a year off and just help my mama out because she needed it at the time, and like, not even on just emotional support. My stepdad had just passed away. And so we just had a lot of transitioning things going on, and I was just like, no, I got to help my mom out. You know what I mean? And it's something I would literally do every day. I would do it again, like, because she does everything for me. She does everything for me and my siblings. Like, she's always just been supportive. She's always been loving. She's always made sure we knew that we had support, and it was never any question about if we needed it. She, like, if we just ask, you know what I mean? And not even on like if we ask for something stupid, like if I'm like, Mom, I want these Jordans. Like, you know how many shoes I asked for I didn't get, child? That's, you know what I mean? Like, it's not, but it's like the things you need, the things that are important, the things that like make sense, you know what I'm saying? And like, she's a Virgo, and like Virgos just, I love Virgos, gotta love Virgos, but she just, yeah. My mom and my grandma, man, they are everything to me, straight up. I would not be here without them at all. Like, they really did what they had to do. Period.
Yes, beautiful. Okay. Could you tell us about a time where you were at a crossroads, maybe recently? It could be years ago, or maybe something you're anticipating. I'm not sure, but
yeah. I mean, I can even just bring up what I was just about when I was graduating. My stepdad passed in May of 2016, and I graduated in June 2016. So it was just like a lot happening at the same time, and at that time I was definitely like confused. I have a little sister who at the time she was about to turn 4. My older brother was going into like his junior year of college. My older sister was living in Chicago and working in Chicago. And my brother was in college in Wisconsin. So they're all like, you know, Midwest. I'm here, you know what I mean? And it's like, you could go to Clark, you know, you could go like fill out these applications, go these other places, you know, do all this thing, be stressed about school and be out the way. Or you could stay home and just help, you know what I mean? And it was just like, and at the time, like, I wasn't also like, I truly wasn't pressed to go away. I was honestly like, I need to go to community college. Like, I'm not ready to just be like mentally, you know what I mean? I'm not ready to just be on my own elsewhere. And I was like, really, like, I should go to community college for 2 years and like kind of ease into that transition or whatever. So I was already having those conversations with my parents. But then when that happened, I was kind of like, okay, I'm gonna just take this gap year. Like, I'm gonna just take a second, you know what I mean? And I'm gonna just help out. So I was just like taking my little sister to school all the time. Like, we live in Antioch, and my mom, little sister school at the time was in West Oakland. So we're on BART all the time. Like, I'm no car, no whip, just moving. My mom working. I'm just like, just moving, making it happen. I was working for OUSD at the time. Just a lot of stuff was going on at the time. And so that was probably my first experience of just being like a working girl, you know what I mean? Like, out of high school. And it was fine. Like, I enjoyed myself. I didn't have any, I wasn't like, it was just, you know, that crossroads of just being like, do I stay? Do I go? What do I do? You know what I mean? And then I chose to stay. And like, honestly, I don't regret it at all. Like, I feel like I did exactly what had to be done. And like, it just was what it was. For real. Like, I mean, it is what it was. And now we're here all these years later, and I have a great connection with my siblings. You know what I mean? I have 2 more siblings from my dad, and like, help take care of them. I'm really good at taking care of kids. Got all the experience I need, y'all. So yeah, it's like, it just helped make me a stronger person, I feel. And so I don't have any, I don't have anything against it. You know what I mean? It just really helped make me stronger. So, yeah.
And that's dope that you knew, you know, it was okay and you had the support around you at the time to be okay staying. Because I think, I don't know, there's so much pressure. I just remember so much pressure in my senior year. Yeah. And it being like, everybody's going to college or everybody's getting in somewhere or whatever. And, you know, you feel like you have to go or you feel like you need to go just to prove that you can do it. Yeah,
exactly.
So kudos to you.
And that pressure, like, it truly didn't let up. Like, when I went to, like, I'm 22 now. I have 2 associate's degrees, which is tight. And, like, they're associates or transfers, so, like, I could easily right now be in school. But anybody trying to do that, child. This pandemic school is not cute, and I also don't want to be nervous on campus because everybody's like, the pandemic is over, and it's not. And I don't want to be online virtual because that was not my bag either. So I just am taking a second right now. But it doesn't stop. Like, I still have those thoughts sometimes, or at least when I was in school, when I was getting when I was like preparing to get my sociology and my social justice degree, I was having these thoughts of like, I need to keep going, and like just stress, you know, all that stress that just gets on your back when you think about school and like all the accolades that everybody wants you to reach and stuff, and feeling like, oh my God, I'm gonna be old when I do, you know what I mean? I'm gonna be too old, or like I'm gonna be the oldest person in my class, like all these like feelings. And so I've had like, we have an anxiety child, and so I just be having to like just talk myself down from it and just be like, you're good. Like, everybody has their own path. Like, everything is not linear. Your story is not linear. Time isn't even linear. Like, so it's no pressure. And so being able to take that pressure off of myself, I don't care what everybody else says. Like, I just be laughing now. You know what I mean? It's like, you got to get your degree. I'm like, yeah, okay. I am working. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I am doing, and not even on no, like, you can work forever, but like, I'm doing good work. You know what I mean? I'm doing things I'm passionate about. I'm doing something that I care about right now. Like, I am not pressured by myself. I don't pressure myself. So you can't pressure me because I'm not even there yet. Like, you somewhere else. I'm not even on that page, child, so relax. So yeah, I think just taking the pressure off of yourself really helps, because it is a lot. And it's so much. It's like, not even, it's family, it's society, it's homies. I got so many homies. Like, I graduated 4 years ago. All my homies have bachelors. All my homies who went to college right now are like, got their bachelors or are about to graduate. You know what I'm saying? So like, there is that. But I'm just like, good for y'all. Happy you did it. Yes. Good for you. We can get drinks and talk about it. You know what I mean? Exactly. But I'm not stressed. Am I stressed about it? No, like, it's good. We have our own things we're doing, and that's fine.
Well, you have dropped, I don't know how many gems throughout this interview, but I'm going to leave you with just one more question. What support do you think Black youth need today? And I'm going to add to that, because you are actively working with youth.
Right.
How are you actively supporting them? And, you know, what are you doing to make sure that, you know, any youth who's in your position is heard or able to be seen? Because it sounds like that's something that's important to you.
Yeah. When it comes to kids, I really like to listen, because they say the darndest things. I mean, they say the craziest stuff. But just making sure they're heard and they feel heard has been valued. Like, like to have conversations with them. I like to look them in the eye when they're speaking to me. I like to make sure, but then at the same time, like creating banter, creating a relationship that is not, I'm the adult, you're the child, I say this, you do that. Like, nah, like creating trust. Like when it comes to YGB, we always try to find the kids in the room who want to be leaders, you know, and there are those who like, I want to do the count, you know, I want to 1, 2, 3, like I want to start the song, like I want to do the poem, the inches, or whatever, and like making sure that they have those opportunities, making sure they feel heard, making sure we switch it around so every kid gets the chance, like making sure nobody feels like, because it's not about being a wallflower, you know what I mean? It's not about blending in. When you're in a space with a bunch of black people, you shouldn't feel like you have to blend in. You should feel like you can stand out because we're all the same, you know what I mean? So it's like, how do we empower the kids to stand out? And like when it comes to in rehearsal, it's like we empower them to yell. We empower them to use their voices. We tell them to like scream as loud as they can, you know what I mean? We teach them breathing exercises so that they don't damage their voices, so that they can scream as loud as they can, you know what I mean? Like things like that, things that give them the power to just like speak out and like speak up for themselves. We have this one student who, she has this teacher, and she was like, you're racist. Just straight up. Her teacher did something to another student, and she was watching. She was like, you're racist. And the teacher was like, you're in trouble with the whoop. And she was like, okay, but you're still racist. And it's like, just even that, having this like fourth grader, you know what I mean, have the power to know that like I'm being wronged, like, and this situation is wrong, and I can call you out on it because I know my words. I can use my voice. And so, yeah, that's really just like encouraging children to use their voice and not to shut up, like encouraging your children to scream and not to be silent, encouraging adults to listen to children when they speak and like ask questions and not just like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's white noise. It's like, nah, it's not white noise. Like it's a whole human being, like treating children like they're human and not just like younger, other, whatever, like, they're powerful, man. They can be so powerful. And the only thing that's standing in the way between that child and their power at times can be you. So how do you back up? How do you not be the barrier? How do you not be the boundary? And so I think that's really what it is. Like you have to be really self-reflective when you work with children because it can be you. You can be the problem. Like I'm the problem sometimes. Like, and not even, you know what I mean? I'm like looking at my stuff, like I'm with the kids and I'm like, dang, I have an attitude today. That they're not my attitude though. You know what I mean? Like just cause my stomach hurts, they didn't do it to me. So I'm not going to take it out on them. Like I know plenty of teachers who have like, I've been in classes, I've been a student, you know what I mean? And you're just being like, I did not personally harm you, ma'am. Why are you treating me like I personally harmed you, ma'am? Like you're having a bad day, cool, call off. Straight up, like being empowered to call off as an adult. Like you shouldn't be working with kids if you know you shouldn't be working with kids. Like, and so I think when it comes to black children specifically, like there's so much implicit bias. There's so many things that you have to like mitigate when you're working with them anyway. So you just have to be gentle and receptive and listen because like they have needs that you might not understand, even if you look like them. You know what I mean? And hearing that and talking to them, like that's how you do it.
Wow. Snaps. I just had to snap. We're going to bring us back to the poetry real quick because that was bars. Those were bars right there. Please let us know how to connect with you on social media. We will probably be dropping them right here, right about now.
Yeah, my Instagram is at Creative Icky, creativity, but with a K instead of the T. That's the one I'm sharing. All right. I work for Young Gifted and Black. The YGB Instagram is YGB Oakland, so you can follow us and figure out what's going on with us. You can look for us at proud2beblack.org. That's proud2beblack.org. On there, you can figure out what we're doing, when our rehearsals are, enroll your child if you trust me, because they will be with me, and just ask any questions, anything you need. Let's tap in.
Yes. Thank you all so much for joining us today on our Kingmakers of Oakland Crossroads, the Intersections of Blackness series. Once again, I'm your host, B.Deveaux, and I want to thank Ikera Davis for joining us today. For those of you who are just listening for the first time, Kingmakers of Oakland is an organization dedicated to improving the educational and life outcomes of Black youth. We have Coup merchandise, original music, documentary films, music videos, curriculum, and a whole host of other content and resources available that promote our movement and change the narrative for Black boys. Check out our 11-song album, Kings in the Making, and our 4-song EP, Revolution Remix, available on all digital music platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, iTunes, anywhere you can find it, we're gonna be on there. Follow us on social media and look out for our information about our upcoming events at Kingmakers of Oakland on Instagram and Facebook, and at Kingmakers O on Twitter. Thank you so much. Once again, I'm your host, B.Deveaux. Have a wonderful day.